These three things will determine if 2026 is going to be different or more of the same. After years of struggling with my own relationship with food and now helping women through my content and coaching, I noticed a pattern. Some women break free from emotional eating and create lasting food freedom, while others stay stuck in the same cycles for years. Some even after trying strategy after strategy. And the difference isn't willpower, it's not motivation, it's not even having the perfect plan. The difference comes down to three non-negotiables. These aren't tips or strategies or even quick fixes. These are the foundational elements that separate lasting transformation from temporary change. And if you're missing even one of them, you're more likely to stay stuck in the same patterns, no matter how much you want to change, no matter how hard you try. But here's the good news. Once you understand what these three non-negotiables are, you can start implementing them immediately. And when you do, 2026 won't just be another year of starting over, it will be the year everything finally clicks into place. So yeah, welcome to the final episode of the Get Ready for 2026 series. Over the past 3 weeks, we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about the identity shift, becoming the woman who naturally trusts herself around food. We dove into the 3 pillars of food freedom: nervous system safety, metabolic trust, and emotional capacity. And we got specific about breaking the binge cycle that peaks on Sunday nights. Today we're bringing it all together with the 3 non-negotiables that will determine whether you actually implement what we've covered or whether the series is just another thing you watched but didn't act on. Because here's what I've learned: information without implementation is just entertainment. And these 3 non-negotiables are what turn information into transformation. The first non-negotiable is daily body check-ins, but I'm not talking about tracking your food or counting calories or weighing yourself. I'm talking about checking in with your body's actual signals and needs. Most women who struggle with food have completely lost touch with their body's wisdom. They don't know when they're hungry, when they're full, when they're tired, when they're stressed, or when they need comfort. So they use external rules to manage their eating. They eat because it's time to eat, not because they're hungry. They stop eating because they've reached their calorie limit, not because they're satisfied. But here's the problem: external rules will always fail you eventually, because your body's needs change every day based on your stress levels, your sleep, your cycle, your activity level, and multiple other factors. The women who create lasting food freedom learn to tune back into their body's internal guidance system. So what does that daily body checking look like? Every morning you ask yourself, how does my body feel today? What does it need? Maybe your body feels tired and needs gentle movement and nourishing food. Maybe your body feels energized and wants to move more and eat lighter. Maybe your body feels stressed and needs comfort and grounding. So throughout the day you check in. Am I hungry? What would satisfy me right now? How does this food feel in my body? And in the evening you reflect, how did I honor my body today? What did I learn about it, what it needs? This isn't about being perfect. It's about rebuilding the connection between your mind and your body that diet culture has severed. When I first started doing this, I realized I had no idea what hunger actually felt like. I'd been eating by the clock for so long that I completely lost touch with my body's signals. It took me months of practice to rebuild that connection. But once I did, food decisions became so much easier. I didn't have to think about what to eat. My body told me. The second non-negotiable is weekly emotional inventory. Most women who struggle with emotional eating are carrying around a backpack full of unprocessed emotions, and every week they add more emotions to the backpack without ever emptying it out. Eventually the backpack gets so heavy that the only way to get relief is through food. But the women who break free from emotional eating have a different approach. They regularly empty their emotional backpack so that it never gets too heavy to carry. A weekly emotional inventory is how you do this. So every week, I recommend Sunday evenings, you sit down and ask yourself, what emotions came up for me this week that I didn't fully process? Maybe you felt frustrated with your boss but didn't express it. Maybe you felt lonely but distracted yourself instead of addressing it. Maybe you felt overwhelmed but just pushed through instead of asking for help. And then you ask, how can I process these emotions now? Maybe frustration needs to be journaled out or talked through with a friend. Maybe loneliness needs to be addressed by reaching out to someone you care about. Maybe overwhelm needs to be processed by asking for help or saying no to something. The goal isn't to never have difficult emotions. The goal is to process them regularly so that they don't build up and drive you to food in the first place. I used to think that being strong meant pushing through difficult emotions without acknowledging them. But I learned that the actual strength is being able to feel your emotions fully and process them in healthy ways. When I started doing weekly emotional inventories, I realized how much I have been using food to avoid feeling things. And once I started processing emotions regularly, the urge to eat my feelings away almost completely disappeared. The third non-negotiable is a monthly identity review. Remember how in week 1 we talked about becoming the woman who has food freedom? Well, identity shifts don't happen overnight. They happen through consistent intentional practice. And without regular check-ins, it's easy to slip back into that old identity patterns without even realizing it. And a monthly identity review is how you stay on track with becoming the woman you want to be. So every month, you ask yourself 3 questions. Question number 1, who was I being this month? Look at your actions, your choices, your responses to challenges. What do they tell you about who you were being? Were you being the woman who trusts her body, or were you being the woman who second-guesses every food choice? Were you being the woman who processes emotions in healthy ways, or were you being the woman who uses food to cope? This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. Then question number 2, who do I want to be next month? Based on what you've learned about yourself this month, how do you want to show up differently next month? Maybe you want to be the woman who asks for help when she's overwhelmed instead of eating her stress away. Maybe you want to be the woman who honors her hunger cues instead of eating by the clock. Maybe you want to be the woman who speaks to herself with kindness instead of criticism. Then question number 3, what is one identity shift I can practice this month? Pick one specific way of being that you want to practice, not 10 things, one thing. Maybe it's practicing the identity of someone who trusts her body by eating when she's hungry and stopping when she's satisfied. Maybe it's practicing the identity of someone who processes emotion by doing the daily emotion check-in. Maybe it's practicing the identity of someone who treats herself with kindness by changing how you talk to yourself after a difficult food moment. The key is consistency. You're not trying to become a completely different person overnight. You're practicing being the woman you're becoming 1 month at a time. Now here's why these 3 non-negotiables are so powerful when you do them together. The daily body check-in rebuilds your connection to your physical self. The weekly emotional inventory keeps your emotional backpack from getting too heavy. And the monthly identity review keeps you moving in the direction of who you want to become. Together they create a system of self-awareness and self-care that makes food freedom inevitable. You're not relying on willpower or external rules. You're relying on your own internal wisdom and your own commitment to becoming the woman you want to be. And this is how lasting change happens, not through perfection, but through consistent, compassionate practice. So let's bring together everything we've covered in this series. You are becoming the woman who trusts herself around food. That is your identity shift from week 1. You're building the foundation of nervous system safety, metabolic trust, and emotional capacity. That is your foundation from week 2. Then you're breaking the weekend binge cycle using the weekend reset method. That is your practical application from week 3. And you're implementing the 3 non-negotiables: daily body check-ins, weekly emotional inventory, and monthly identity review. That is your system for lasting change. When you put all of this together, you have everything you need to make 2026 the year you finally feel free around food. Not because you followed another perfect plan, but because you became the woman who naturally makes choices that support her well-being. That brings us to the end of our Get Ready for 2026 series. If you've been following along for all 4 weeks, you have now everything you need to make 2026 different. You have the identity shift, the foundation, the practical tools, and the system for lasting change. The question now is, will you implement it? Because here's what I know, the women who succeed aren't the ones who have the most information. They are the ones who take consistent actions on what they learn. So I want to challenge you. Pick one thing from the series and implement it this week. Just one thing. Maybe it's starting with the daily body check-ins. Maybe it's doing your first weekly emotional inventory. Maybe it's trying the weekend reset method this weekend. Whatever it is, start now. Don't wait until January 1st, because the woman you're becoming starts showing up today. Make sure you grab the Binge Free 2026 Starter Kit if you haven't already. It has everything you need to implement what we've covered. The link is in the description below. And in the comments, tell me what is the one thing from this series that you're going to implement first. I read every comment and I'm genuinely excited to see what you choose. Thank you for joining me for this series, and here's to making 2026 the year you finally feel free around food. You've got this, and I believe in you. So lots of love, and I will see you in the next video.